Pretty terrible ultimately because I was P3 and ended up going backwards. But yeah, just need to understand where I was losing all the power. I just had a real lack of power through, particularly the second stint. But majority of the race, even from the beginning, I couldn't keep up with people just for the lack of power.
I heard you on the radio saying, "Tell me where I am, where through the lap, I can make changes and things." Is it? I mean, it's not your understanding of these rules because as you were saying before, you're learning every race about the deployment and where to do this and where to do that. So, is it the car or? I mean, is it?
I don't know. I don't really understand this now.
Yeah.
I'm full gas and I'm managing where I've been asked to manage, and for some reason just lacking power today. So I need to figure out if there's something wrong with the car or not. But still, we got some points.
What if I told you that Lewis Hamilton just delivered the harshest message of the entire season? And almost no one is understanding what it really means. Because we are not talking about a simple complaint after a race. We are talking about a driver who has just acknowledged publicly that Ferrari is not even close to winning, that the difference is much greater than it seems, and that not even significant improvements would change the situation. What he said after the Japanese Grand Prix is not just a statement. It's a warning. And when a 7-time world champion starts talking like that, it's because there is something much bigger going on within the team. The race at Suzuka wasn't just another date on the calendar. It was the point at which Lewis Hamilton fully understood where Ferrari stood at this point in the season. Because it all started with a deceptive feeling. The context of the race, marked by the safety car after Behrman's accident, seemed to open a real opportunity. Hamilton managed to position himself well strategically, placing himself in a competitive zone, even with clear podium aspirations. For several turns, the narrative seemed favorable, as if Ferrari could hold its own in the fight. But what happened next changed everything. As the final laps progressed, the reality of pace began to take hold. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a bad one-time decision. It was something more obvious, more structural. The lack of pure speed. And then the key moment arrived. His own teammate with better pace and fresher tires attacked him ruthlessly and surpassed him on the track. No discussion. No defense possible. That overtaking not only took away the podium, it took away the story. Because at that moment something much deeper within Ferrari was exposed. Not only are they behind their rivals, but they don't even have absolute control within the team itself. And that is where Hamilton's statement is born. Not from the frustration of having lost a position, but from the clarity of having understood the full picture. Suzuka was not just another race. It was the moment when all the pieces fell into place. Insufficient pace, real distance from the leaders, and a clear feeling that the car simply is not where it should be. Hamilton experienced it on the track and confirmed it off it. Because when a driver of his caliber stops talking about results and starts talking about structural differences, it is because he is no longer analyzing a race. And this is where the story takes a much deeper turn. Because what Lewis Hamilton said after the race is not just an analysis. It's practically a complete diagnosis of Ferrari. Hamilton did not remain superficial. He didn't talk about strategy, traffic, or minor details. He went straight to the heart of the problem. The real gap with the leaders is much greater than Ferrari wants to admit. When he mentions that Mercedes is clearly ahead, he doesn't say it as a perception. He says it with data in hand. The difference in classification, close to 0.8, is not just any number. In Formula One, this gap defines different categories within the grid. And here comes the most important thing. Hamilton makes it clear that even in the best possible scenario with significant improvements, Ferrari would still not catch up with those at the top. That completely breaks the optimistic discourse that often surrounds teams when they talk about evolution. Because we usually hear, with a new package we will be in the fight. But Hamilton says otherwise. He is saying, even if we improve, it is not enough. That nuance changes everything. Because then the problem is no longer one of evolution. It is one of concept. It's grassroots. It is a starting point, and that perfectly explains the tone of his words. There is no despair, but there is a kind of intelligent resignation. That of someone who understands that the path is not short, nor easy. Additionally, there is another key detail that goes unnoticed. Hamilton does not speak in plural constantly. He doesn't hide behind the team to soften the message. He assumes reality and exposes it. And that, within a structure like Ferrari, has a lot of weight. Because when a driver of this level begins to publicly mark the distance with his rivals, he is generating internal pressure. Pressure on development. Pressure on engineers. Pressure on management. And above all, it is marking a limit. This is not enough. At this point, the statement stops being a simple post-race reaction. and becomes something much more serious. It becomes a warning for the future. Hamilton is not talking about the past at Suzuka. He is anticipating what can happen in the next races if Ferrari does not radically change its course. And this is where everything fits, where Lewis Hamilton's words stop being an analysis and become a clear sign of what can come for Ferrari. Because if this statement proves anything, it is that Hamilton has already changed his approach. It is no longer in the adaptation phase. He is no longer discovering the car. Now you are evaluating, and what you see is not encouraging. Suzuka not only showed the lack of rhythm, it also left a much more forceful conclusion. Ferrari is not in the fight for the present, and if nothing changes, it will not be in the short term either. And this has consequences, because when a driver like Hamilton starts talking about an enormous amount of work, he's not talking about small adjustments. He is talking about a long, complex, almost structural process, a path that cannot be solved with an update, nor with an aerodynamic package, nor with a specific improvement. He's talking about reconstruction. And this is where the real tension appears. Ferrari is a team that cannot afford that time. He can't afford to be left out of the fight. He can't afford another year of being a spectator. But Hamilton, with his experience, is making it clear that that is exactly the current situation. And that generates a very dangerous contradiction within the team. The urgency to win versus the reality that they are not ready to do so. Furthermore, there is a silent but key element to all of this. Hamilton doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't criticize directly, but it doesn't protect speech either. He says just enough, but he says enough. And that, in Formula One, is usually the first step before important changes. Because when a pilot of his caliber begins to publicly distance himself from the leaders, the next step is always the same: demand answers, technical answers, strategic responses, internal responses. So the big question is no longer what Hamilton meant. The real question is, can Ferrari respond in time, or are we seeing the start of another lost season? But there is an even deeper point to all of this, one that is not directly stated, but is completely implicit in Lewis Hamilton's every word. And it is the impact that this situation can have in the medium term. Because when Hamilton talks about such a big gap, when he insists that even with improvements they would still be far away, he is not only describing Ferrari's present, he is projecting the future. And that future, right now, does not point to a quick recovery, it points to a season conditioned from its base. This is where the real risk comes in. In Formula One, when a team starts the year with a concept that is not up to par, everything goes uphill. Each update has to be more aggressive. Every technical decision has less margin for error. And each race becomes a kind of constant test, rather than a real opportunity to compete. That's exactly what Hamilton is hinting at. Ferrari not only needs to improve, you need to get absolutely everything right that comes your way. Because while they try to cut those tenths, their rivals continue to advance. And that is where the distance is not only maintained, but can even widen. And there is another element that aggravates this scenario even more: the pressure. Ferrari is not just any team. It is a structure where each result is amplified, where each statement has weight, where each weekend without a podium generates internal and external noise. And now, with Hamilton publicly exposing the reality, that pressure increases on engineers, increases over the direction, and it even increases the internal coexistence of the team. Because when a driver makes it clear that the car is not up to par, a chain of consequences is automatically activated. Decisions are questioned, development is accelerated, urgent solutions are sought, and in many cases, that can lead to errors. That's why this moment is so delicate. Because Ferrari is entering a phase where it doesn't just need performance, it needs clarity. You need to make the right decisions under maximum pressure. And Hamilton, with his experience, knows this perfectly. That's why his message is not explosive. It is calculated. It does not seek to generate chaos, but it does not hide the truth either. It is simply marking the real scenario in which the team finds itself. A scenario where competing is no longer enough. You have to react, and fast. And in the end, it all comes down to one thing. Lewis Hamilton's words after the Japanese Grand Prix are not a hot reaction. They are an accurate X-ray of the real state of Ferrari. Because we're not talking about a bad race here. We are not talking about a failed strategy. Not even a complicated weekend. We are talking about a structural difference, profound and dangerous. Hamilton has made it clear that Ferrari is not in the fight. That even in their best scenario they would still be behind. And that the path to closing that gap is not short, nor immediate. And that completely changes the narrative. Because while from the outside there is still talk of evolution, of improvements, of taking the next step, Hamilton is already at another point. He has already understood the magnitude of the problem. And when a driver like him comes to that conclusion so early in the season, it's because reality is even harsher than it seems. Right now, Ferrari is not fighting to win. He's struggling to understand why he can't do it. And that is the biggest difference of all. Because in Formula One, the one who improves the most does not win. The one who starts from the correct base wins. So the situation is clear. Hamilton has already launched the message. You have already set the real level. He has already put the pressure where it belongs. Now, the question is not what happens with Hamilton. The question is much more uncomfortable. Is Ferrari prepared to accept this reality and do what is necessary to change it? Let me know in the comments what you think about all this.